Hi everyone! In this video I want to share my approach for creating this type of 6-prong, or maybe this has sort of 12, but they're kind of like a doubly claw looking 6-prong basket style setting. I am going to use a combination of Rhino history enabled commands and matrix gold dynamic commands to show you how you can create something like this entirely parametrically. There are a number of very useful tools here in the settings menu that allow you to create a wide variety of heads and bezels, but there's nothing that really allows you to create something like this that is just ready to go. You can come sort of close pretty quickly. So let's show this. I'm going to change the look. Yeah, so you can get pretty close pretty quickly to something like this. You can create a gem and then a bezel and use scallop cutters. In this case, I used two sets, one upright, and then I mirrored one and shifted it, rotated it by 30 degrees, and then I just used a little gallery rail here. But obviously it lacks nuance, and at some point, if you want to approximate something that you could have made by hand, you will have to soften it or make it look just a little more sculptural. And you know, you probably would want to use fillets and blah blah blah. And even if you could get the fillets to work well, you're still going to end up with something pretty blocky. So this is, I'm just going to get rid of this guy. This is certainly more complicated than 4 commands. In fact, it is 27 steps long, but it doesn't take too long to get started, and it really offers an approach that's super adjustable, and you can also save what you create and then use it as a builder for this kind of setting going forward. So I think let's just get started. I'm going to move this over here. I won't get rid of it. It's useful if it's kind of lurking somewhere over here. Okay, so, and actually I'll just hide it for now. Okay, so I like to create this head at the origin point, and then I like to use orient to gem in order to put the head onto a gem that I have on a ring rail. This perhaps adds a few extra steps, but I find it just makes editing and adjusting a lot easier just visually for me. You could work directly on a gem on a ring rail, but I'm not going to do it that way, and so you'll just have to suffer through my method. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, and I'll just follow these steps, is to create a gem. I'm just going to stick with something about a caret, so this is fine. And the next thing will be to just create one more. This one I'm going to make smaller, and I'm going to bring it down here, and I'm going to call it Gem Guides. And so the next thing I'm going to do is create some gem guides like this. I'm going to give it 6. That looks good. And now actually I'm going to come back in here, and I'm just going to rotate this 30 degrees. And I'm going to explain that in just a second. Okay, so actually let's just show that band again. Let's bring it back over here. So I'm going to be building this head in twelfths, essentially. I'm going to make 1/2 of 1/6, and then I'm going to use polar array to get and mirror to get all the prongs arrayed around the head. But to do that, I want to be able to mark where 1/12 is in my 360-degree round, or the, essentially the girdle, or a girdle offset curve. And by creating these gem guides and then rotating the stone, I can permanently mark where 1/12 is in space. And that way my array will always work really perfectly, and I don't have to think about where that point is in space. And I can adjust it up and down. Actually, I'm going to hide this stone now. Don't need to see it. But I can adjust these up and down, in or out, and it will maintain that sort of place at 1/12 of 360 degrees. So that is that. And now I'm just going to also add a gem offset curve to this one. And that looks fine. Okay. And you are too close and making things chaotic. So let's just bring it over here. Okay. So now I am going to create the two profiles that will make my 1/2 of my prong. And I have these, I made these already. Just a moment. And they are, let's bring them down here. These are just two curves. I'm going to turn on the control points. They're both made from a circle, the same circle, and then I just sized them a little bit differently and shifted the control points around. And I really like to create curves that are going to be in sweeps. I like to take one curve and then use it to create the other curves that are going to be in that sweep, because I find it allows for like a really clean surface that's very predictable. So that's why, and I always just do it, I always just create the curves I need from a circle, because if you move the control points around enough or add other control points, you can make lots of different interesting shapes. Okay, so I need to get one profile up here at this point, and then one profile down here at the 30-degree point. So I am not going to opt for Profile Placer. I'm not going to import these into Profile Placer and do that. Instead, I'm going to use Object on Curve. So I'm going to just select my offset, and then up here in Object, I'm going to select this profile, and I'm going to make some changes here. I'm going to just limit this to 1. I'm going to preserve object size. I'm going to make the orientation down, and then I'm just going to swing this around to this point, and I'm just holding Shift to snap it there. And I think I want this narrower part of my egg shape to be toward my stone. So I'm just going to hold Shift to snap it there. And then I can right click to accept that. And then I'm just going to rename this, since I'm making 2, top. And I'm going to right click to run that command again. And I really only need one piece of one thing here, and it's this piece of my gem guide. So I'm going to select this curve, and same steps here. I'm going to select this as my object, And same changes, limit it to 1, preserve object size, and then orientation down. And I know that I want this to be upright. Oh, no, that's not what I want. I'm going to back out and start again. Okay, I'm going to select this curve and sorry about that. Make these changes. All right. So I just want to orient it. I want it to be this way, and then also this way. Okay, that looks good. I'm just going to rename this bottom. Okay. And now, you know what? I can put these on yellow so they stand out, and then I can hide my gem guides and also my offset curve. Don't need that. All right. So what I really like about this method is that you can make modifications to these profiles right here just by using the gumball or moving control points. I think it's really super flexible, and I like it in some ways a lot more than using the profile placer, because it's just clunkier to edit profiles using profile placer. Okay, so now I'm basically going to use, my goal is to use a network surface to create this part of the prong. And to do that, I just need to create, well, I'm going to create 4 rails to use with these 2 profiles to create my network surface. And I'm going to create those rails by using blend curve. And in order to use blend curve, I need to have some curves to blend. So I'm going to achieve that by extruding these 2 curves. This is fine. They're both actually going in the wrong direction, but that is fine. I could flip them, but I think I'm not going to. I like actually to correct the curve instead, so I'm just going to press enter, and then I'm going to come back in here and quickly just flip this one 180 degrees, and then also the top. I just kind of, instead of compensating for the direction using the flip in the dynamic extrude, I actually just like to know that my curves are oriented in a different, or in the right direction in this case. Okay, so now I'm going to put myself on red, and I need to get 4 curves here and 4 curves here so that I can blend each of those pairs together. I'm not going to use a dynamic command here. I'm going to use just extract iso curve, because you can create 4 at one time, and you can snap them to various places, and they are also editable after you've created them. So I'm going to type extract iso curve, and I'm going to snap here, 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 and here. I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to do the same down here. I'm just going to right click to run that command again, and I'm going to snap just to the quad points. And you can change these. The command is move extracted iso curve. I'll probably use that a little bit later. So it's not too important where they end up at this moment. Okay, and now I'm going to use blend curve. So this is just a regular blend curve, and I'm going to start with the pairs. So this curve here is going to line up with this curve here. So I'm going to select this one and this one, you just want to make sure here that the position of each of these two curves here, or the blend start point, is lined up where the profile is and not at the end of the extrusion. So these are both correct, so I'm just gonna adjust them a little bit. And blend curve is also something you can edit, so I'm not going to spend too much time doing it right now. And now I'm just going to make my way around. Same thing. Not going to do too much editing. I'm going to choose this one. Nope. This guy here and this one. No. It's hard to select this for some reason. Okay. Okay, so one is not only in the wrong place, but it's upside down. So I'm going to flip one. I'm going to bring this down and this blend handle up, and then this one in. And then I'll do this last one. Same thing there. And this one's also going the wrong way and in the wrong place. All right, that's fine. Okay, so now I have the rails for my network surface. And just a note of caution here, if you are tired of looking at these extrusions and you want to get rid of them, you cannot dynamically hide them without breaking the history of these extracted ISO curves. So for example, if I change this profile, it will update the extrusion and also the ISO curves. But if I hide it dynamically and I do the same, only the profile will update. So if you want to get rid of these or you don't want to look at them, you can either just hide them or you can put them on a layer somewhere else. I'm going to move them off yellow since yellow is kind of common. I'm going to put them on this tangerine-ish color and I'm going to hide them. All right, so now I'm going to make my network surface. Actually, I'm going to put myself on light green first, and then I'm going to spell this right. I'm going to select these curves, and then, so that looks just fine. I'm going to just make sure position is what I'm choosing. Okay, so I can make tons of adjustments. Right away I think I'm going to lift this up because I want this to be a little higher and also a little further from the girdle. Okay, so that changes the orientation of this top profile. And I can see also that this, I don't love the way this is orienting, so I'm going to move this ISO curve. So I'm going to type move extracted ISO curves, and it will light up any of the options that you can move, and you just have to choose the one you want. So I'm going to choose this one, and I'm just going to slide it more this way. I like that better. I think that's okay for now. And now I want to see what these look like as they are arrayed and making up my 6-prong head. So I'm going to just do a regular old copy, or sorry, a mirror of this one across the y-axis. That's good. And you can see that these are overlapping in a weird way. That's all right. In my example, I'm going to make something like this where I have kind of two pieces of my prong. So I'm going to make that change now just simply by coming up here And I'm going to slide the position of this over a little bit. And I think I'm going to also just rotate it slightly. Okay, and that's pretty good. And I think that I want to change the blend here a little bit. So I'm going to type blend curve, and I can come all the way over here to edit, and I can select edit, and then it will allow me to choose which curve I want to blend. And I'm thinking I want to do this one. Maybe bring this down and then this one out just a bit. Oh, I don't actually like that. Maybe I want to do this one. Okay, so I'm going to right click, press edit, and okay. All right. I'm not going to really mess around with this too much because that is really boring to watch, and also you get the general point. So right now I'm going to array these around to see how they look when all 6 prongs are present. So I'm going to just select these, and I'm going to do a regular polar array. Okay. I'm going to use 0 and then 6 objects. Here's my preview. All right. So this, I don't love this area here, but mostly it's looking pretty good. I'm going to open this bottom up here, and then I'm just going to rotate this a little bit this way. And I think I'm going to move another ISO curve. I'm going to move this one down a bit. All right, I'm liking that more. And yeah, I think that looks fine. I'm just going to leave this as it is. Okay, so you're basically done here now. You have something that you can, I'm going to turn this off, that you can orient to a gem on ring rail. You have something that you can either just extend these prongs and cap them off, and that'll be that, or you can now give it a more finished look, like for a render for client approval or something like that. So I'm going to show you how to kind of just do a little bit of surface editing to give this more of a set look. I'm not going to spend a tremendous amount of time on that, but maybe just a little bit, so that you can see how that's done. Okay, so let's hide these. Also, I want this, so in my copy down here, this prong is oriented right, right in the middle, but actually I want to turn it so that if you're facing the ring, the prong is offset, and where the two meet is actually in the middle. So I'm going to, I'm first going to just, I don't actually need all these light green bits, so I'm going to deselect just these two, get rid of the rest. And then I'm going to make a copy of these, and I'm going to do that so that I can do some surface editing, because once I start doing surface editing, I am going to break parametric history. So it's something you want to save till the end when the prong is really exactly how you want it. So I'm going to just copy in place, and then I'm going to cell last, which is just selecting the last thing you did, and I'm going to stick that over here, and I'm going to turn this light green off. Okay, Now I'm going to turn my points on, and I'm just going to cap this prong. So I'm going to select this one control point, and then I'm going to type cell U, which just selects all the points in this direction. And I'm going to hold shift on the gumball and then bring them in to a point. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, cell U, but this time I'm going to, I want these to be planar with this point, so I'm going to type set point. I only want to set them in the Z direction, so I'm going to make sure these two are not enabled. And then I'm going to just snap to my point. And from the side here, I think I'm just going, actually, you know what, I can get rid of, sorry for all this zooming. I think it's this thing screwing everything up. I'm just going to bring it over here, and then I'm going to hide it. Okay, so from the side, I'm just going to grab these guys, and I'm going to rotate them a little bit. No, I must have grabbed something. I see. Okay, I'm going to turn yellow off. I'm going to grab these and rotate, and then maybe bring in like this. Let's see. That looks okay. I'm going to just mirror that across Y. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And now I don't want these actually in this location. I want them over here. So I'm going to use rotate, and I'm going to select these two, and then I'm going to say copy yes. I'm going to choose 0 as the center, and then hold shift and just snap here, and then I'm going to type 90. Okay, and so now actually if I continue editing this, if I decide I just actually want these to be up a little higher, it will update all the 4 prongs I have here. Okay, so finally, now it's time to orient these to my gem. So I need to create that gem and the ring rail so we can finish up. Okay, so let's see. I think I've done everything here on this list. All the way down to, now it's time to make my cathedral ring rail. If you don't use notes, I don't know, maybe you should start. It's really quite handy. It's a good way to kind of think out your steps and make it modeling really efficient if you can just try and think ahead to all the commands that you're going to run. Okay, what am I looking for? Tools, cathedral ring rail, size 7 is fine. I'm not going to fine tune the shank curves yet. And I'm going to create a gem on ring rail. I want it to be, in this case, I want it to be the same size as the gem I created here, but this is another cool thing about orient to gem. You can make it bigger, and obviously your object that you're orienting will scale accordingly. So this looks fine. And now I'm going to use the orient to gem, and I'm going to select my base gem and my objects, and I'm going to put them here. And then I'm going to come over here to transform polar array. I'm going to select these objects, and there we go. Okay, so now I have my 6 prong head here. It's good to go. I think I'm just going to raise up my gem a little bit more, maybe like this. And going to create a gallery rail. That looks okay. You can always modify it. I think I'm going to pull it to the rail though. I like that. Okay. Maybe that is just a little bit too thick. It's better. Okay. And now I'm just going to create my shank. So I am going to create a profile placer. Where is that? Here. I'm going to choose this as my outside curve. And I think I want to use something like this. I'm going to make it really thin. Maybe like this. 1.2. And I'm going to mirror that over the other side. And then I'm going to put a wider one down here. Maybe like this. Let's just see. I use Activate Auto Sweep just to look sometimes. I don't, unless it's just a continuous circle, I don't tend to use it to create actual elements. So that looks good. Now I'm going to do a, whoops, yellow is off. I'm going to do a sweep to this guy and this guy. And that's fine. And now let's just edit this. We'll bring it in. And maybe change this. Let's see where we are. I think I'm gonna just adjust this a little bit. I'm not going to get too picky about it here because this doesn't really matter that much. Okay, that's fine. And then I'm just going to name this because I'm going to make another one. Shank, and then I'll create the bridge, and then we'll be almost done. Okay. And I'm not really paying too much attention to the dimensions here, so if you're watching this and you're like, that's not manufacturable, that could be the case, but I'm just trying to show you a method, and then you can take it and apply your own settings. Okay. Here we go. And let's just do a mirror, dynamic mirror, and gosh, I don't love this way this looks. Okay, that's fine. All right, so now you have this element. You can just hide this. Remember that you have these light green ones too. So if you want to show this to a client and then they say, I love it, it's just the best thing ever, then you can come back in here and you can orient these. You know, remember you'd want to rotate them 90 degrees. And you can continue editing them. You know, let's maybe you just, there's some changes you feel you need to make. And you can just hide this, or you can, you know, save it, job bag it, or put it in your library and then use it in other contexts too. You can maybe make a 3-stone ring and have 3 of these different sizes. So let me just finish this. I'm going to put that little detail on the sides. So I'm going to use this curve. I'm just extracting an isocurve here dynamically. And then I'm going to use one more object on curve here. And oh. That's so annoying. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, I think that happens once a day or multiple times a day. Hopefully when it happens to you, you don't lose everything that you were working on. Okay, so where was I? I was going to put some thingamadoodlies on the shank, and then we'll be done. Really, I'm just needing to see this through to the end. Okay, I'm going to taper this and make this a little bigger, maybe like this, and bring them closer together, start them lower, and down a little. Okay, this is really an unnecessary element, but I just want to do it. Okay, and now I'm going to mirror these over to the other side, and now I'm going to just put a little profile placer on this curve to make a nice transition here. Though maybe you're like, that's so hideous, why are you doing that? Okay. And I'm going to just change the position and bring it in and mirror it. And then I'm going to make one more down here. Just sort of fades into the bottom. For this, I'm just going to use Activate Auto Sweep so that I don't have to add yet another step to this process. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to just hide this. So this is how I make this type of setting totally parametrically. You should be able to change the ring size and change the stone size. Why don't I just do it? I'll just do it. You know, obviously this should work pretty well. It was like a teeny tiny change. I'm a little nervous about making huge changes. But let's see, let's change the ring size. That's always a good test. We'll make it an 8. Yep, that worked pretty well. And, you know, obviously there are limits to how much you can edit this now, since we did some surface editing and broke that network surface history. But before you get to that point, it is really a very adjustable process, and hopefully this will save you some time and doesn't seem too excuse me, overly complicated. Okay, my voice is no longer working, so thanks so much for watching, and I hope you found this useful.